When bad things happen, we ask, why did this happen to me? When bad things happen to everyone, you don't get to be excluded from that. But we don't ask, why did this happen to me when good things happen? Here's the thing. Things happen. That's how it works. So just remember, when you decide to make meaning of something that happens, just wait a minute. Hi, I'm Barb Nangle. I want to welcome you to my podcast, Fragmented to Whole Life Lessons from 12-Step Recovery, where I help people heal their emotional, psychological, and spiritual wounds and make deep, lasting changes in their lives. I'm a boundaries coach who specializes in helping women who say yes when they really want to say no, and who neglect themselves because they're so focused on others. I've coached hundreds of people to create Boundaries by Design, a blueprint for life. I have a free boundary building starter kit at boundariesstarterkit.com. On this podcast, I share my experience, strength, and hope from recovery. I don't support or endorse any particular 12-step recovery fellowship, and I don't claim to speak for any 12-step fellowship. I don't believe that 12-step recovery is the only way to recover. You might need additional help. I'm an avid beachcomber and a formerly closeted fan of the Hallmark Channel, especially the Christmas movies. I wear fingerless gloves almost all year round because my hands are always cold, and I love taking pictures of license plates with my initials BN on them. My hope is that you'll find my words concretely helpful in improving your life, whether you're in recovery or not. If you like what you've heard on this episode, please screenshot it and share it on your social media. Be sure to tag me at Higher Power Coaching. This is episode 302, Lessons from a Zen Farmer, The Truth About Luck. I recently heard a parable twice. I heard it from two different thought leaders I follow, both of whom I highly respect and have learned and grown tremendously from. And it's so good, and I can't believe I never heard it before, that I felt compelled to share it here. It reminds me in some ways of the episode I did a few weeks ago on the ripple effect of gratitude, how small moments spark big changes. I linked that in the show notes. It's episode 296. In that episode, I spoke about how practicing gratitude has helped me recognize the pivotal moments and people who have shaped my life and the trajectory of my life. So here goes. Here's the parable. There once was an old Zen farmer. Every day, the farmer used his horse to help work his fields and help keep his farm healthy. But one day, the horse ran away. All the villagers came by and said, "We're so sorry to hear this. This is such bad luck." But the farmer responded, "Bad luck? Good luck? Who knows?" The villagers were confused, but decided to ignore him. A few weeks went by, and then one afternoon, while the farmer was working outside, he looked up and saw his horse running toward him. But the horse was not alone. The horse was returning to him with a whole herd of horses. So now the farmer had 10 horses to help work his fields. All the villagers came by to congratulate the farmer and said, "Wow, this is such good luck." But the farmer responded, "Good luck? Bad luck? Who knows?" A few weeks later, the farmer's son came over to visit and help his father work on the farm. While trying to tame one of the horses, the farmer's son fell and broke his leg. The villagers came by to commiserate and said, "How awful, this is such bad luck." Just as he did the first time, the farmer responded, "Bad luck? Good luck? Who knows?" A month later, the farmer's son was still recovering. He wasn't able to walk or do any manual labor to help his father around the farm. A regiment of the army came marching through town, conscripting every single able-bodied young man to join them. When the regiment came to the farmer's house and saw the young boy's broken leg, they marched past and left him where he lay. Of course, all the villagers came by and said, "Amazing! This is such good luck. You're so fortunate." And you know the farmer's response by now: bad luck? Good luck? Who knows? So, as I said in that episode about gratitude I just mentioned, I am able to see things as connected that I didn't previously see as connected before. And that things that seem shitty at first can turn into or lead into something magnificent. What I love about this parable is that it also shows that how things we think are shitty could actually be good. But it also shows that things that we think are good on the face of them might not be so good after all. As the farmer says, who knows? This is the story of life. Things happen. We assign meaning to them. And we later find out some of the meaning we assigned to them was all wrong. Like when I hit a codependent bottom and I was writhing on the floor of my basement and felt like I was going to die as I was having an emotional flashback. I was hopeless, demoralized, felt like I was completely disconnected from everyone and everything else in existence. That sucked. Okay? Of course it sucked. But don't get me wrong, it did suck, but it did lead me to the greatest shift of my life, getting into 12-step recovery, healing childhood trauma from intergenerational family dysfunction, and building healthy boundaries. When I hit my bottom with sugar, I felt like I was being internally electrocuted by sugar. That got me into OA, and now I am down over 100 pounds from my top weight. And by the way, tomorrow is my 7-year anniversary of being at goal weight. I have never weighed the same thing for 7 years in a row ever in my life. My recovery from codependence, trauma, family dysfunction, substance use, and compulsive overeating, and the enormous amount of freedom, peace, serenity, self-love, and fulfilling relationships I have now would not have been possible without those bottoms, which at the time sucked ass and they were shitty, but they led to unbelievable beauty. I am now grateful to be an adult child and a recovering compulsive overeater. Now, when I first got into recovery and I heard people say things like, "Oh, I'm a grateful recovering compulsive overeater," or "I'm a grateful recovering codependent," or "I'm a grateful adult child," I thought, yeah, I'm grateful that I'm recovering. But I came to understand that these people weren't just talking about being grateful for the recovery part. They were grateful that they were compulsive overeaters, that they were codependents, that they were adult children. The way I think about this now is like this. Let's say someone grows up in a family where they were almost always happy, joyous, and free. And then compare that to someone like me who grew up in a family with dysfunction, having had no idea how bad things really were. And they became happy, joyous, and free through the process of 12-step recovery. Who do you think is going to value their happiness, joyousness, and freedom more? Of course, it's going to be the second person. Now, the idea in this parable is that we just don't know what's going to happen. I hear people who are upset all the time say, "I don't know what's going to happen." And what I usually say is, we literally never know what's going to happen. We think we know what's going to happen most of the time, and we just don't. For example, we act like someone dying is a shock, but literally every single one of us is going to die. Every single person ever born is going to die. And by the way, I looked it up the other day because I thought there might be more people alive today on the earth, 8 billion-ish, than have ever lived. No, there's been something like 117 billion people who have lived in the course of history. All of them, except for the ones currently living, have died. When bad things happen, we ask, why did this happen to me? When bad things happen to everyone, you don't get to be excluded from that. But we don't ask, why did this happen to me when good things happen? Here's the thing. Things happen. That's how it works. So just remember, when you decide to make meaning of something that happens, just wait a minute. What I found is that professional women are afraid people won't like them, so they don't say no. Then they become overwhelmed and resentful because they keep giving in to others and take on too much. What they really want is to have balanced relationships where there's give and take without having to have a confrontation. But they think the problem is that if they knew just the right words to say, things would go more smoothly and they'd be able to stick to their boundaries. So they end up letting people walk all over them and then explode when they can't take it anymore. But the real problem is that they don't know what's okay with them and not okay with them because they're so focused on others. That means they don't set limits or ask for help. What they need to do is focus internally to get clear on what matters to them so they know what to say no to and can communicate that clearly with calm confidence. If this sounds like you, we should talk. Go to barbchat.net to sign up for a call with me. If you like this podcast, and I'm guessing you did because you're still listening, you will also love my weekly newsletter, Friday Fragments, which has short essays similar to the podcast. You can check it out at fridayfragments.news. That's fridayfragments.news. If you haven't already subscribed to my podcast on your favorite podcast outlet, please do that. It helps carry the message to more people. I started this podcast because there was so much wisdom in recovery that just wasn't making its way out into the world. So I want as many people as possible to hear it. I'd also love it if you'd leave a 5-star rating or a review, which you can do on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find it so they can get the benefits that you've gotten from listening. If someone in particular came to mind when you listen to this episode, please share it with them. And my favorite place to hang out on social media is Instagram. I'm at Higher Power Coaching. Please DM me there. I'd love to hear what you got from this episode. I run private and group coaching programs on building healthy boundaries. Whether you need help with boundaries in your personal, professional, or romantic life, I can help. Head on over to barbchat.net where you can get on my calendar for a free 30-minute Better Boundaries consultation. I also do short-term situational coaching to help people make it through specific situations they're going through, such as divorce, empty nesting, preparing for retirement, or any phase where their identity is shifting. Regardless of the type of coaching, my ideal client is someone who is ripe for change. If that's you, I'd love to work with you. My goal with all my work is to help you make lasting changes in your life, like I've made deep, lasting changes in my life. Remember, it's never too late to recover. No one is beyond hope, and healing is possible. Thanks for listening.